Alton Towers. It's the UK's biggest theme park, arguably one of the best that this country has to offer, and here you'll find world-class rides and roller coasters. Not only that, Alton Towers has so much history, opening as the theme park we know today in 1980, but the park itself has been around for 160 years. So for a park with so much history, there are a bunch of hidden secrets and Easter eggs which you've probably never noticed before. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at 9 hidden secrets and Easter eggs at Alton Towers, so you can look out for them during your next visit to the park. But before we get started, if you do enjoy watching, then please hit that like button to let me know, and if you are new around here, then please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing, because we make plenty of theme park and adventure videos here which you don't want to miss. Number 9. The Smiler's cameras. Starting off with the Smiler, this is one of the park's most popular roller coasters for many reasons, and this roller coaster has a few Easter eggs which we'll be covering in this video. The Smiler opened back in 2013 and was, and still is, the world record holder for the most loops and inversions. The Smiler has a nauseating 14 inversions, including 5 corkscrews, 2 dive loops, a heartline roll, a reverse sidewinder, a regular sidewinder, a sea serpent, and a cobra roll. So many elements packed into a roller coaster that's under 3 minutes long. It's truly a unique experience, and one of the reasons why it's one of the best roller coasters out there. If you're brave enough to experience this ride, as you go through the entrance, have a look up at the cameras pointing at you and around the area. How many are there? You guessed it, 14 cameras, each representing an inversion. The Smiler still holds the record for the most number of inversions, and who knows when that record's going to be beaten. But until then, the Smiler still holds the record, and is one of the best roller coasters here in the UK. Number 8. The Smiler's paint rollers. Now I told you that there was a few Easter eggs for the Smiler, so we're going to stick with it. Now even though the Smiler is fantastic, the opening of the ride did not go as planned. Originally the coaster was supposed to open at the start of the 2013 season, but due to construction delays and weather issues, the opening of the ride was pushed back to the end of May 2013. Of course, not a massive delay, but still very inconvenient for guests wanting to ride this new world record beating roller coaster for the first time. So Alton Towers put an Easter egg in the queue line as a nod to the troubled opening of the ride. Just before you head up the stairs to the station, look straight up and you'll see some paintbrushes that have half painted the ceiling. If you think this Smiler Easter egg is cool, then you're gonna love the one that's coming up later on in the video. Number 7. Rita's posters. Onto one now that may not be as hidden, but it's still a cool throwback. If you head to the left past the iconic towers, you'll reach the Dark Forest. This area is home to 2 roller coasters, one being 13 and the other being Rita. Before the area was called the Dark Forest, it was actually called Ugland, which had prehistoric theming. And this is where you could experience the former roller coaster Corkscrew, which we'll be covering in the next Easter egg. But in 2005, Rita was introduced to the area. Rita is a hydraulic launched coaster that goes 0 to 61 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. So of course, very fast. Now with the area being called the Dark Forest, Rita does have a very strange theme. It's kind of like you have to escape the Dark Forest, but before this re-theme, Rita was called Rita Queen of Speed, and it had a drag racing theme. Although the coaster is no longer the Queen of Speed, if you take a look at the fences around the launch, you'll find posters reference the former name and theme, including one saying Rita Raceway 2005 and Thunder Rock Rally races here from 2005 to 2009. Number 6. Corkscrew. Okay, so this next one's not so hidden. In fact, it's pretty impossible to miss when you enter the park. Corkscrew was a roller coaster which could be found in Ugland, which is now called the Dark Forest, and it was a steel roller coaster manufactured by Vekoma, and it operated from 1980 to 2008. Even though we have better coasters at the park now, Corkscrew was still an iconic roller coaster, and it's sad that it was removed after so many years of operation. However, Alton Towers have kept the corkscrew memory alive by putting the double corkscrew element at the entrance of the park. It may look like an ornament, but this was the actual track, which is really cool of Alton Towers to do. They could have just scrapped it, but they decided to keep this iconic roller coaster's memory alive for years to come. Number 5. Corkscrew's lift hill motor. So this next Corkscrew Easter egg is not so obvious. In fact, it's that hidden that I can't even show it you in this video. 1, because it's that hard to spot, and 2, because the only way you can see it is when you're actually riding one of the other roller coasters. 13 opened in 2010 at the park and replaced Corkscrew, which closed a couple years prior. Whilst you're riding 13, keep an eye out at the end of the ride as you head back into the station, because on the right hand side you'll see some machinery that has become entangled in vines. Now this isn't just any old machinery, this is actually the lift hill motor from Corkscrew. Just another Easter egg to keep the memory of Corkscrew alive. Number 4. Oblivion's projector. So now moving on to a roller coaster which is still operating at the park, but it's still a classic, Oblivion. Now if you've ever been on Oblivion, you've probably walked through the spiralling long queue line and come across a big weird laser looking thing and thought, what is that? Like the story behind the ride doesn't include anything to do with a laser. Well, this isn't just a random piece of scenery. This is in fact an Easter egg. A throwback to the past planetarium attraction which closed a long time ago back in the 80s. This planetarium was just your classic planetarium where you could view planets and stars, and it was narrated by Patrick Moore. The planetarium closed back in 1987, but you can still find this piece from the attraction in the Oblivion queue line. Just another way that Alton Towers have kept the memory of former attractions alive. Number 3. Oblivion's queue line. Now I've already mentioned that Oblivion's queue line is pretty long, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because on busy days the queue for Oblivion can reach an hour plus. But the X sector, which is the area which you'll find Oblivion, it is pretty small. So Alton Towers needed to make the queue the right length but make it compact enough to not take up too much of the area. So when you enter the queue, you spiral round upwards until you get to the station. So if you don't already know, Oblivion was the world's first vertical drop roller coaster. Although it's not exactly vertical, I think it's 3 degrees shy of being vertical. So yeah, another bonus fact for you there. And that almost vertical drop sends you through a black hole in the ground, which is pretty deep. The chain lift takes you up 65 feet, but the drop itself is actually 180 feet. So if my calculations are correct, that would work out that 115 feet is underground. So obviously a lot of digging and a lot of dirt that had to be taken out, and all that dirt had to go somewhere. Well, the hill that you spiral around in the queue line is the earth that was dug up to make the black hole. And if you love facts about dirt and rocks, then you're gonna love this next one. Number 2, rocks around the park. Alton Towers is a very good looking park. You have the gardens, you have the lawn area, and you have the lake as well. But also, Alton Towers use plenty of natural pieces to make up scenery and to form path areas. As I mentioned with Oblivion, they dug up the earth and used it to form the queue line and the station. Well, Alton Towers also dug up other areas to build their roller coasters, as they're not actually allowed to build above the tree lines. So digging up large areas means that they can still make tall coasters, but just put them below the ground level. Other coasters that do this include the Smiler, which is in a massive man-made pit, and then there's also Nemesis as well, which is also in a dug up area. Before Nemesis, this was a flat area on level with the rest of Forbidden Valley. Builders used TNT to create the man-made pit, but this of course created a lot of earth that needed a place to go. You can find these rocks around the pathways and other areas of the park. A lot of them line the Congo River Rapids in Katanga Canyon. So it's good to know that no dirt was wasted when building these rides, and it was reused in the best way possible. Okay, so that's enough dirt facts for today. Let's move back onto the Smiler. Number 1, the Smiler's exit floor. So if you've ever been on the Smiler, you will have definitely walked on this, but you probably never realised. Once you've been on the ride, you'll exit through the gift shop where you can of course buy gifts and also check out your on-ride photo. But as you leave the gift shop back into the X sector, you'll notice the floor is a little bit different. This is actually a pane of glass which originally was supposed to give you a view of the Smiler's indoor section, where you encounter that first inversion. But that indoor section is way too dark to see anything. And not only that, every guest that rides the Smiler walks over that pane of glass, which means it is very dirty, meaning you can't see anything. I get what Alton Towers was going for, and it would be really cool to see that indoor inversion from above, but it obviously didn't work out. The next time you're at Alton Towers and you've had a ride on the Smiler, then go have a look, but don't expect to see much. So there we have it, 9 hidden secrets and Easter eggs at the Alton Towers Resort. Now I'm sure there's plenty more which I haven't mentioned in this video, and if you know of any more secrets at Alton Towers, then be sure to leave them down in the comments below. Alton Towers is the park we cover the most here on the channel, so if you love the park as much as me, then be sure to check out some of my other videos, including plenty of vlogs and all the future videos to come. But until then, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.